In this video, I want to talk about measuring your results and fine-tuning your plan. There's a number of stats and results that you can measure, which will help determine the success of your lead generation and your social selling efforts. Based on these results, you may need to modify some aspect of your profile, your message scripts, or your lead generation plan to be more successful. You may also find ways to improve your plan or remove pieces that aren't producing results to make your plan more efficient and effective. Your network size and your new connections is a good gauge. It's definitely not a numbers game, and this number is only a small piece of the larger puzzle, but it's a good idea to keep track of how quickly your number of connections are growing. If the number's not increasing by the number of connection requests that you're sending out, you need to either modify your connection request message or the types of people that you're reaching out and connecting to. You can see this number on your home page partway down on the right-hand side. You can also see the size of your entire network here. This is your first, your second, and your third degree networks, as well as the members of groups that you're involved in. Another gauge that you can use is how many people are actually viewing your profile. This is going to let you know, a great indicator of how well your profile is optimized, how attractive it is, by seeing how many people are actually viewing your profile. You can see how many times your profile has been viewed in the last day, week, month. So if you go to see who's viewed your profile page, you can check out the graph, which will show you how often you've been viewed in the last 90 days. If you see a spike in views, it's helpful to determine what you did to cause that spike and see if you can actually recreate it. You can also see the number of people who viewed your profile in the last 90 days as well. So if this number is decreasing or holding steady, or a lower number than you'd like, you may need to review your profile a little bit, or your publishing efforts, your group activity. There's a number of ways that you can actually increase that. Pay attention to how you compare to others in your network. So a good indicator of how well you're showing up in the results compared to other people in your network is in the Who's Viewed Your Profile section. Under how well you are, or how you rank for profile views tab, you can see basically where you fall in relation to the other people in your network. So you want to aim to be at least in the top 5%. If you're below this, you might want to tweak your profile or the keywords in your profile. You also want to be paying attention to your status update stats. You can view your status update stats on the home page on the right side, a little bit down the page, and you'll see a box that looks like this. It'll show you your reach of your status updates in your network. So the first ring includes your first degree connections. The second ring in the middle includes your second degree, and of course the one on the outside includes your third degree connections. So it shows you not only how many people in your first degree network have seen it, but also the people that have seen it in their network based on any actions your first degree network's taken. So for example, if people have liked it or commented on it, then their network sees it too. So you can hover your mouse over each circle and you can see how many people in each level of network, first, second, or third, have actually engaged, liked, commented, or viewed your post. If your content isn't consistently getting likes, comments, or making it past your first network, you have to look at the quality of the content that you're posting. You want to take a deeper look at what kind of content's really going to resonate best with your audience. Pay attention to which content's generating the most results, and then keep producing more of that content or sharing more of that content. Endorsements and recommendations. It's a good idea to keep an eye on how many recommendations you're getting and how often you're being endorsed by others. If you're not getting recommendations, make sure you follow up with the people that you've already asked. Make sure you offer to provide a sample that they can use if they're pressed for time or they just don't know what to write. And if you're not getting endorsements from connections, then look for connections that you're comfortable endorsing. Endorse them, as it's very likely that many of them, or at least some of them, will return the favor. If you're posting to LinkedIn Publisher, you're going to want to pay attention to the stats for each of your posts. So you're going to want to go to your profile and click on any one of your posts, then click on the link at the top of the page with the number of posts you published. This will take you to an overview page of all of your posts. You can view the stats for each post below the image. The stat will tell you how many people viewed, liked, or commented on a post. At the top of the page, you can also see how many followers you have, and remember this number also includes all of your first degree connections. With regular posting of great content, you should see this number of followers increase above the number of your first level connections. So if you have a number of followers, or if the number of followers you have rather is not growing, and your posts are getting very few views, comments, and likes, you may try changing different aspects of the content that you're publishing. For example, trying different types of headlines, changing that content length, adding more images or rich media, and making sure the content is professional in terms of course, your spelling, your grammar, and of course the layout of it. It's really important to lay out articles and blog posts in a manner that's very reader-friendly for people. Your group status, this is a great way for you to gauge your contribution level in each group. You can actually see if you've reached any kind of level of top contributor. Of course, you're not going to be able to contribute equally into each group, and some groups you're not going to want to contribute to at all. But those groups that you do want to focus on becoming a top contributor, you want to see progress little by little over the months. So if you're sharing content, if you're engaging in groups, you can see your contributor status increase potentially to top contributor, which will have you showing up on the far right hand side of the group, which will enable a lot more people to see you. So in order to do this, try to interact more with other members and existing conversations first, and then start working towards creating and starting your own conversations. If you have a company page on LinkedIn, you're going to want to check in and see what kind of reach your company status updates are getting. I'm going to be going into greater detail on how to start and create a company page in the bonus modules. To check your company page progress, go to your company page and click on the analytics link at the top of the company page navigation bar. You'll see a list of all your updates with stats such as whether it was sponsored, impressions, clicks, interactions, followers acquired, and engagement percentage. Further down the page, you can see graphs of your reach and your engagement, as well as specific stats on your company page followers. Again, I'm going to go into more detail on company page analytics in the bonus module. So if you're not seeing growth in the followers over your company page, you might want to review the content you're sharing or the frequency of content you're sharing. Another option for growing your company page, of course, is to sponsor some of your posts, which you can target to your exact target audience and expand your reach. While I cover sponsored updates in the company page video in the bonus module, I want to mention them here for the analytics and the important way to gauge the success of your content that you're sharing as sponsored posts for your company page. The analytics from both the sponsored posts and the company page analytics will give you a clear idea of how effective your post is or each of the posts that you sponsor. You also, of course, want to be tracking your leads and sales. Your leads and sales are the most important indicator of success in your lead generation efforts. Keep in mind, if you want to be successful, you have to follow the entire process from understanding who your ideal clients are, creating a professional and keyword optimized profile, to spending regular time each day going through your checklist and moving your clients offline to have an actual conversation with them. This is where you learn more about them and how you can help them, and you make some suggestions. Failure to follow through on any one of these can greatly decrease your success. From time to time, you might want to tweak your profile. If you've done your profile right from the start, there's very, very little that you want to do, but you might find times where you just want to review, update, or tweak your profile. It might be, once a year or a couple times a year, but make sure that if there is an opportunity to update your profile, maybe you've added a new ideal client or you want to optimize for a new keyword, that you're looking at that and making changes as necessary. You might find that you attracted a new ideal client and you want to incorporate that, or you added a new service and you want to incorporate that, or the existing keywords that you're using aren't producing the results you want, so don't be afraid to change them. You may also need to modify your message scripts. After you've been using your message scripts for a while, you'll know whether or not they need to be modified. If they're producing great results for you, leave them as is. If they're not, then they may require some tweaking. Sometimes you might run into unexpected issues. For example, I had a client who was sending messages to local business people. He was inviting them to meet for coffee, and he quickly found out that female connections were far less likely to want to meet him in person, even though it was in a public place, and some even actually disconnected with him after he sent that message. So he had to tweak his approach and either, have it more male dominated where he was focusing on male clients, or have a different spin on how he was going to interact with female clients. Maybe it was going to be a little bit slower in terms of moving that conversation offline, or maybe it's having a phone conversation instead of an in-person meeting. Look at how things are actually working for you and whether or not they're working for you, and then make changes as necessary. You may also want to update your message from time to time to keep them fresh and ensure that you're offering value to your connections. Make sure that whatever you're sharing is current and relevant. And of course, from time to time, you're going to want to update and tweak your checklist. After you've been following your checklist for a few months and you become comfortable with it, you're going to get into a flow. So you're going to be able to tell if one or more of your activities is not producing the results you want, or if it's not worth spending time on. And as you discover this, you should modify your checklist, getting rid of what doesn't work, modifying the things that can be improved, and adding new activities that come up because of the frequent changes on LinkedIn's platform, and so forth. The key is to be flexible and make it work for your individual needs, not get stuck in using a checklist that's not customized specifically for you or that's outdated. And that's why I really want you to take the time to make that checklist your own, use the sample provided, but make it your own, something that you actually can follow through on. Okay, see you in the next video.